Hello and welcome to the Musical Instrument Investigator. Today we are on the website of Apollium Auctions based in France, and we're going to have a look at an auction that finished a couple of days ago. And now I can't lie, I got a bit confused and mixed up the dates, and this actually ended on the 21st of November, and it's the 23rd today, so that was a bit of a faux pas on my end, but luckily Apollium, at least for a short time, keep all of the auction results. So actually it's quite an interesting auction. So the buyer's premium on this was 26%, so you can use that to calculate what the grand total might have been. And I have to say that today I am joined by Max, who loves the French auctions and loves Apollium especially. Hello, Max.
Hello, I'm apologizing for both of our voice. We have both been sick, but hello again. We're still alive.
We're here alive, and we're gonna enjoy looking at the sold prices actually on this auction. Hopefully most of them are up and haven't been removed yet, so it should be good. Like I say this every time that I mess up the auction and come too late to it, that it is actually quite interesting to see what the sold prices are. And I think Max is going to be interested in this because he loves this auction house, and there's always things that he wish he could have bought. So let's see if there's anything that he's depressed about that he should have bought but didn't. Yeah. So without further ado, you ready to begin, Max?
I am as ready as you are.
Cool, perfect. Right, so here we have a Mando lyre from Giuseppe Cesarari from 1913. These are always quite popular. So the estimate was 1800 to 2000 there. Actually, does it say what the oh yes, sold for 1800 euros. There you go. So that's interesting. People do like these. Another mandolin by Raphael Callas, who's quite well known for making, or they are well known for making mandolins anyway, so it makes sense. Estimate was 200 to 300 euros, sold for 640. It's pretty good. Oh, a very nice Neapolitan mandolin here. Looks like it's got a fair bit of tortoise shell and stuff on it, and needing a bit of restoration. Estimate was 500 to 700 euros, and it sold for 2,900, which is not a surprise at all, to be honest, because this is actually quite a fine quality mandolin. If you look at the fluted back as well, so that's a real sign of quality, and obviously full of dead tortoises. Not very good for shipping it anywhere because of CITES restrictions, but good for making things look fancy. A Selma horn here, estimate is 300 to 400. It sold for 620 euros there, so that's good. This auction's doing pretty well for their clients. An Alto Saxophone by Selma. It didn't sell, it looks. Yeah, it didn't sell. 1800 to 2000 euros was the estimate. Another Alto Saxophone by Selma, once again didn't sell, so no one's interested in saxophones. That was 1800 to 2000. Another Alto Saxophone, 1500 to 2000 euros. That one didn't sell either, it seems, so that's not good. Oh, a Soprano Saxophone by Selma, that sold for 1700 euros, was 1200 to 1500 was the estimate. Clarinet by Selma, a lot of Selma things here. Estimate was 300 to 400, it didn't sell. An English violin. It was 1800 to 2000 euros was the estimate, but this also didn't sell. Any thoughts on this, Max?
I like how for violins we're straight to the funny stuff. This one actually looks very interesting if you look at it from the back.
Yeah.
I can see quite a lot of things going on here. The corner works are very neat. Nice wood.
Nice pegs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one, but clearly people didn't like it for whatever reason. So because it did not sell.
Yeah.
I can't seem to...
For the purpose of people coming to this auction, English stuff are kind of rare. People are probably generally not very interested in picking one of these up from this auction.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. So a Violin Anonymous with a label for Rafael Callas. Estimate was 1,000 to 1,200 euros, sold for 800. Not many pictures there. Looks fairly standard. I mean, it looks kind of believable. It's definitely not the usual. So,
I mean, we've seen a few of these in the past.
yeah.
The back of the scroll looks really neat.
Yeah, exactly. And it's got quite large corners. So,
yeah. I guess expected for a lower grade French violin, but the scroll is very well made.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Nothing too crazy, but interesting enough. Here is a French violin there, 360 back. Didn't sell. Estimate was 1,500 to 1,800. No comments on this one.
The pictures are still loading. I got it. I think it's interesting. A little bit on the long side, and nothing stand up. That's, I guess, why nobody was bidding on it.
Yeah.
Nice instrument.
An Italian violin by Pietro Paolo Desideri, 1796, with a Gilles Chancerole certificate. 5,000 to 7,000 euros was the estimate. Sold for 5,000.
Not bad. I mean, Chancerole is the one who runs this auction, I think. So it's a bit of an in-house certificate, like Vichy.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Not as bad. It looks very interesting. I mean, for this price, for a good 18th century Italian, I think that's a pretty good price.
Yeah.
I wish they had better pictures though, because this would have been an interesting instrument.
Yeah.
I would not have this being Italian, but
oh right, yeah, number 3 is hard to say, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he must know something that I don't. So
yeah, exactly. And then onwards to a French violin, Colin Mizer, 1,000 to 1,200 euros. It's sold for 2,000. So there you go. It shows you how kind of these Colin Mizan things are really kind of starting to go up a bit in value, aren't they?
I would not buy one, especially at this price. The what's it called? The Lutherie Artistique is one of their mass produced label that this violin is probably not even made in the Colin Mizan workshop.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, and it's really not bad. It's really not bad. My concern with some of these is just that the arching is very weird.
Right. Okay.
This is amazing actually. So this would be considered one of those higher grade instrument from their workshop. But if you look at it, they're not. We've seen better stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And to be honest, at this price, if you're really lucky, you can buy some real good Colin Mizan, like the Colin Mizan Senior. But of course, if you're a shop, I'm sure you'll be selling this for way more than. So Colin Mizan is always the funny one that you can buy. You can pick one up for some insanely cheap price, but they retail for a lot more. That's why I moved on beyond. I moved on from Colin Mizan. I'm not touching
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're moving up in the world. You're in the big leagues now.
Yeah, we've all had our Colin Mizan phase.
Yep. Then it's another French violin, Gustave Villaume. Estimate was 1,500 to 2,000, sold for 2,100. It's a pretty plain looking thing to me. It's fairly boring.
I remember right. This has nothing to do with the big Villaume.
This is a separate kind of.
Let me take a look real quick. Because if I remember right, nothing to do with the other William.
Yeah, it's a different spelling as well. So
Mhm. What's the
it's
name of William's father again? I think
oh, I can't remember.
because there are a few Williams. All right, his father's name is I don't remember. Whatever. Moving on.
Let's move on. Anyway, German violin, School of Klotz. And it says Matthias Klotz in Mittenwald, 1766, 357 back. Estimate was 1,500 to 1,800 euros, sold for 1,550. You know what? That's a really good price. It's actually a pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you buy anything from this auction, you've seen one of these, so that's why I don't think people are too hyped with one of this. But of course, these are a solid $5,000 to $10,000 instrument in a shop.
Yeah,
if you're a shop owner, I can imagine buying one of these and fixing them up.
Yeah, I mean, some of these are actually really nice.
Yeah,
they're really, really nicely made kind of instruments. They're real quality kind of things. So I like them anyway. So
they are one of those early mass-produced instruments because cloth is a big family.
oh yeah, it's just a whole sea of people really. So
yeah, but, for a cloth school, this one will actually be on the nicer side.
yeah,
If you need his made, I think this one is pretty nice. Just like the form, though, it has that the Klingenthal, the built on back vibe.
yeah,
So you tell how it's built. It doesn't have the prettiest form, but it's hard to tell from the picture, I guess. I'm
yeah,
sure it looks
definitely.
better.
Yep, definitely. French violin, Ludovicius Muro, 358 millimeters. Estimate was 600 to 800. It sold for 1,150. Quite nice wood choice. Any thoughts on this one, or?
Well, the picture is still loading for me, but
Okay.
doesn't look too interesting, I guess. We have some big boy stuff coming up, so you don't have to be too nitpicky on these.
That's all right. Just if you've got any comments on it at all.
I am all good for now. This one is interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, very good for the price. This actually stylistically is very similar to the Colin.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
They're identical. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they're from the same shop, because Colin would buy one of these in white and varnish them, put their own label in it.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, let's move on then. A Flemish violin there. 18th century, bearing a repair label from Andreas Hirot, 1799, 354 millimeter back. That's pretty good length. Estimate is 2,200 to 2,500. Sold for 2,300 euros.
Very cool. I mean, we don't see these very often.
No.
This would be one of those so-called Low Countries violin on Bromptons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like it. I like the scroll. It's interesting. Once again, I think 2,300 is not too bad a price. It'd be a lot more at one of the English auctions, maybe not Brompton's. But if this was at Ingles and Heyday or something, it probably would have gone for a bit more. But yeah, interesting. I like that. Right, a German violin, Gottfried, with Mark JGH, potentially Johann Gottfried, 361. It's quite long. 2,500 to 3,000 euros was the estimate, and no one pulled the trigger, probably because it is a bit long.
Also on the ugly side in terms of varnish.
Yeah, it's a bit yeah, it's not lovely, is it? Funny kind of crack thing at the back as well.
Yeah,
I think
these are your obscure Germans.
yeah, it's
I mean,
not
why they gave it a high estimate probably because they're pretty certain of it being a personal work, but
yeah,
there's now there.
yeah, not amazing, sadly. French Violin Anonymous, with a label Gavinese, Saint Thomas, Louvre, Paris. 800 to 1,200 was the estimate. Sold for 740.
This one is kind of pretty. I'm still waiting for the picture for the back, but from what I can see,
it's got a slight bird's eye to it on the back.
very nice, especially for the price.
Yeah. Okay, and let's carry on. Another French Violin Anonymous. It's got a label that says Support Violin. 700 to 1,000 euros was the estimate. Sold for 740.
This is your average eBay French violin. This one's actually nice, I would say. It doesn't look cheap.
No, but not too exciting either.
Yeah.
Another French Violin Anonymous with
because I said that doesn't look cheap because I saw the front, but when I flipped to the back, I'm like, wait, that looks exactly like one of those cheap eBay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this next one does as well. This one with the Leon Mugino Gauche label, that looks even kind of, yeah.
I think it's because the auction pictures make them look better than they actually are. The auctions can go either way. Some of them look better, some of them look worse.
Exactly. Yeah.
The scroll is at least the back of the scroll is nicely made. Let's see the side of the scroll. Oh, is it missing a bit?
Yeah, it's got a chunk out of it. Well, estimate was 800 to 1,200 and it sold for 800, which I think is a bit high personally, but
I mean, it's not a bad scroll. I mean, $500 would be a reasonable price for it.
Yeah. But anyhow, so that was that one. Another French violin by Claude Victor Rambaud, 1855, 358 length of back, 4,000 to 5,000 was the estimate. Sold for 5,500 of your Earth euros.
Looks familiar. I think I've commented on one of these about how the F holes are slightly tilted. Yeah, I think this could be on another auction. We've seen it. The F hole placement is slightly high and slightly tilted. These were digested F holes. I think that's what the template is, but the placement.
Yeah, it's interesting. It looks quite tidy, the work.
All right, let's find out how much this one sells in the new world.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Victor Rambo. Oh well, there isn't that many auction record on Theresio.
Right. Okay.
Last sold in 2003 for 4,000.
Well, that's not a bad price then, given it's a fair bit of time later than that. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you put on Theresio, it may be able to sell for 12K.
Yeah.
Or like. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I like it.
Very nice.
Okay, another French violin, a copy of a Galliano, 358 millimeter back, Estimate was 1,500 to 1,800, sold for 2,700. So that was popular.
Nice. Especially the left hole, you can really see the gagliano in there.
Yeah.
From the picture, I think the arching could be a little weird, but
Right.
it's
Okay.
definitely very, very well made.
Definitely. Yep. Not my thing, but yeah, looks well made. And onwards. A violin, probably Italian, with a label for Giulio Movitelli. 1,000 to 1,500 was the estimate, and it sold for 1,000. Interesting edge work. It's quite thick, the edges. The purfling's in quite far from the edge.
I like how Apollium called it a violin of an amateur.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it definitely has some kind of interesting bits to it, but I don't hate it. I think
Yeah.
€1,000 is not too ridiculous. But, yeah, it's curious. And onwards then to the next one. A French violin. Lebert, so it's pretty standard fare, €600 to €800, sold for 600.
Very
Not
not bad. I mean, it looks very standard.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, actually, never mind. I just saw the front. It's it's pretty cheap. I mean, I was looking at the back. I'm like, that's okay. I've seen worse.
Yeah, I think it's just another standard thing, isn't it? Another
Yep.
French violin by Alexandre Delanoy. That was up at 1,500 to 2,000. It did not sell.
Yeah, this one's definitely bit on the cheapo side in terms of how it's looking.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not too much a fan. It's also quite long, 361, so people don't like it. Another French violin by Marc Roulaud, something like that. 356, 3 to 4,000 was the estimate. It did not sell, probably because it's so orange.
It looks more like an Italian varnish than.
I actually don't hate this, though, I have to say, but I wouldn't pay 3 to 4,000 euros for it.
I mean, the wood's nice.
Yeah. So
It's like
the waist seems quite narrow, or is that just an illusion?
possible. I mean, it could be some sort of Amati model. In that case, the waist is definitely narrower than your.
Yeah. The scroll looks the workmanship looks very good.
Yeah, it's also. I mean, it's a very new instrument, 1991.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, I guess out of respect for modern stuff, they're afraid to give an estimate that's too low. But the problem is, bad and it's bad. People wouldn't pay for it.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. Well, onwards then. Another French violin. This is Jean-Baptiste Collar. 1,500 to 200 was the estimate. Sold for 1,650. So I've seen, like, I probably mentioned this before, but I've seen one of these in person, and they're actually like really nicely made. But it's the same kind of deal as, the Colin Mizer kind of stuff, really. This one doesn't look that great, but yeah.
It's funny that they're putting such a high estimate for the Colin stuff already.
Oh yeah, definitely. But like I said, some of them can be pretty good, and it's always going to have bias, isn't it? A German violin, Mittenwald, 360 back, 800 to 1,200 was the estimate, and it did not sell.
mean, you love the scroll, but other than that, it's kind of awful.
God, that's a horrible. Is that actual kind of neck repair, or someone done something funny there, or removed something? I don't know what they've done there. Yeah, the scroll is cool, isn't it? That's my kind of scroll. Yeah, I like that, but the rest of it, yeah, not really.
Yeah.
Too
Well,
interesting.
you could download some good pictures, have to take a closer look at what's actually going on, but I don't
Yeah,
feel like wasting my drive space for a violin looking like this.
yeah, exactly. This is interesting. An Italian violin made by Archimedes or Landini, 355. Estimate was 2.5 to 3,000, and it sold for £2,000. That's
Euro.
interesting. That's a really nice scroll, actually. I quite like it. The edge works a bit different. So
Yeah, the rest is just, it looks a little sloppy, I guess.
yeah, interesting there. Okay.
The preference definitely are those painted? I mean, if you look at the corners, you don't know what's going on there.
Yeah,
Oh,
that is a little bit interesting. But yeah, curious. Well, someone bought it. An anonymous violin with label Georges Apparout. 5 to 700 was the estimate, and it sold for 500.
oh man,
yeah,
T2 will love this.
yeah,
They'll give it high estimate. Someone will pay $5,000 for it.
yeah, definitely. It'll probably end up in T2 shortly.
Yep. Keep an eye out.
Yeah, exactly. Right. French violin, another Colin Mizer, 1,500 to 2,000 was the estimate. This one did not sell. It's 361, and it's a bit horrible looking, really.
Well, people are learning not to, from my mistake as well, not to buy one of these.
Yeah.
It does have, kind of nice double purflings.
But it also has the most horrible scroll and horrible F holes.
Yes, it will look very, very funny. I mean, the score is neat. There's nothing wrong with it. If you look at it, it's really not bad.
It's just got too many turns for
It's
to be nice.
It's some sort of a fake like Magini influence.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know, the varnish, I don't like it. It's like weird. It looks quite, yeah, not
If you look at it from the side, the arching will be really, really high, but the top will be completely flat. So what happens with one of these, as I mentioned before, if you remove the bass bar, you can literally see from one F hole to the other F hole from the side. It's insane. It will sound very loud, but that's about it. And this one's damn long, 361.
Yeah. Yeah, not sure about this one.
Wouldn't be surprised if the neck angle is also too high for this.
Yeah.
But the side, so.
And next one is another French violin from Mirecourt. 1,200 to 1,500 was the estimate. Sold for £1,200. This one's not too bad.
Your very standard Mirecourt mass-produced instrument.
Yep. And
use it for it, but someone's willing to buy it.
yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, it's always going to sell. Then on to the next one, a German violin by Werner August Theodor Voigt, 1911. 357 is the length of back. It's got a certificate as well. 800 to 1,200 was the estimate, and it sold for €2,050. Nice scroll.
I'll tell you this luthier definitely had the varnish game figured out. I admire any luthier that can cook a varnish that make the wood look like this.
Yeah, the back is quite striking, isn't it?
Especially if you look at the front, if you look at all the grains are just clearly seen, very visible. It's like on the internet, there's this one luthier, Christian Bayon, that how to pronounce it. Yeah, I think he makes varnish that look like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, his stuff is very nice indeed. Right, let's go to the next one. A French violin, 360 back, 2.5 to 3,000 euro was the estimate, and it did not sell.
As expected. Oh, I mean, the back looks old. I've seen these on T2. Oh, the scroll is a bit of how you call it, made with a spoon.
Yep.
Interesting.
Well, no one was interested in that one, so we can move on. Another Violin Anonymous with your favorite, a Storioni label. 351 is the length of back. It's quite short. 800 to 1200 was the estimate, but no one bought it. You didn't buy it, so it didn't sell.
One of me went now. It's a bit of an inside joke, I guess.
Yeah, actually. Well, it doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, way worse stuff are being sold in this auction. How come nobody bid on this one?
There's a bit of an odd crack thing going in a bit of a dodgy place, though.
Not on the back. I don't think that's a crack.
Don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a crack on the back, it tend to be vertical. The back is pretty clean. You know,
Okay.
this is right. This is pretty standard, like probably a German violin. Actually, no, if you look at the F-pole placement, it could be something even more interesting than a standard German. Honestly, like you said, I would have bid on this. I mean, what's the price? $800? That's not bad for this. I mean,
it's not too bad. Yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, onwards. A French violin, Miracle, 1,800 to 2,000 was the estimate, sold for 1,800, and it's made by Mermillot Cousineau there. Looks fairly standard to me.
Well, what year is it made in? Didn't say. Well, if I'm looking at this correct, his stuff sells for way more in the US. Without a different milk me load? Not sure. Let me see. Because that scroll doesn't look that good. Actually, yeah. Does it not say which year? Is there a label on
it? Yeah, it doesn't say what year.
I'll tell you, the Americans will love this. This is like a solid 12K instrument on Teresio.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's got a broken button, though.
Yeah, unless it's a different memory load. I think there's just one. You know, this maker's selling for way more. But I don't know. The ones on Cozio look slightly better.
Okay.
By a different maker, but I think it's the same maker. So, yeah. I said some of the stuff are cheap on this auction.
Yeah. Oh well. Let's go on to the next one. A French violin by Honoré Derazy.
Here we go.
There you go. Estimate is 12 to 15,000 euros, and it's sold for 2,400.
It's my favorite out of the entire auction.
Oh yeah.
This is literally what I call a Vium on the budget. It has all the Vium traits from the way that the back's being antiqued. The purfling, I guess, not as perfect as some of the Viums, because the bee stings goes really far. But if you look at the pins, the back of the scroll, the antiquing, I mean, it may look a little funky in person, but I'm sure it'll look nice if it's fully set up. Do a little bit of retouching on the front.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. So someone got probably not too bad a deal there. And here's another Italian violin by Giacinto Bortolesi with a certificate from Serge Boyer, 358 length of back. Was estimates 12 to 15,000 euros. It did not sell.
Interesting. I mean, it's not too bad. But just saying, I've not heard the maker before, so a bit on the obscure side, at least from my limited knowledge.
Yep.
Could be why. Slightly long as well.
Yep. We'll move on. Another Italian violin by Concetto Puglisi. Estimate was 5 to 7,000 euros, and it sold for 4,400.
Oh.
Certificate by the man Gilles Chancerole. Interesting back.
The price is not too bad as well.
Yep.
Oh, it's actually pretty nicely made. A lot of character.
Yeah, I quite like the varnish as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's depends on your taste. Some people think this is a bit too thick, a little too far. It's okay.
Maybe.
Definitely very polished.
Yeah.
And it is on the thicker side. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm not suggesting that a varnish looking like this will have any effect on the sound. I really don't think it does, but it's a different look.
Yeah. I understand. Okay. Then moving on. An Italian violin again by Leandro Biziak. Estimate 15,000 to 20,000 euros. I'm kind of a little bit surprised that this didn't sell actually.
Well, I mean, I would say, in my opinion, the Dehaze definitely looks better than this one, but it is a Biziat, so it's a Leandro Biziat too.
Yeah.
And that's, ooh, I mean, these things are going for about 50K, 100K, 30K on auctions. Actually, you know what? No, they're already in the 50K to 100K range. I mean, pick this up for 15, I guess not too bad. So I wonder what's going on.
Yeah, there's probably more going on than we know about.
I mean, I will ask about it. If I had the money, I would have bet on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, a lot of experts look at this auction, so I guess we can check with them. And something's definitely wrong with this one.
Yeah.
Back sound post crack. Actually, you know what? There could be a back. Looking at it, I don't know. Do you think there's a crack on the back?
Hang on, let me refresh it because I can't seem to go back after I go across to the pictures. It won't let me go back. I don't know. I can't really see, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think for Apollium, they'll let you know if something like that's happening.
Yeah, I don't think so, but who knows? But anyway, it didn't sell, so we must move on. Another Italian violin, probably by Giuseppe Lecce, 360 back, 15 to 20,000 euros was the estimate. Once again, it didn't sell. No love for the Italians.
Very interesting. How come the Lecce is put at the same estimate as the Bizia? That's just this auction is just very interesting.
Yeah, it is slightly odd, but let's move on. Another French violin, Anonymous, 800 to 1200 euros was the estimate, sold for 740.
Not bad.
Okay, and let's move on again. Another French violin, the Entourage of Nestor Ordino there, 357 length of back, 2,000 to 3,000 euros was the estimate, but no one was interested.
People are weird, man. I mean, I definitely find this more interesting than quite a few of the other ones.
Yeah, but I think people like the safety of a known quantity rather than an outlier.
Oh, the scroll is a bit hideous, but acceptable.
And then another Anonymous violin, but interesting violin, 1800 to 2000, 356 is the length of back.
That's your favorite with Piastri label.
Oh,
Also,
yeah, exactly. Perfect.
The top of the back.
Let's have a look. Oh god, yeah, that looks weird. That's, yeah, looks like the same person has been at this one as they was on that German one. Yeah, someone's been having their way with violins. That scroll is way too orthodox to be Ballesteri.
The whole violin just looks nothing Italian.
Yeah.
Look how you comment on the scroll.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got there. French violin by Lucian Humbert, with the label and signature. 1,500 to 2,000 euros was the estimate, but no one liked that one. Looks quite tidy though. The varnish is a bit uninspiring.
I do have a theory about that Bizia. Obviously, Monsieur Chancellor thinks it's a Bizia, but most people monitoring this auction are you know, probably even more knowledgeable on things, and they're not very certain sometimes.
Yeah. Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, we're speaking of Italian violins. We're on another one here. An Italian violin probably made by Moretti Egidio, 356. Estimate was 2,000 to 2.5. Sold for 1,650 there. Not super inspiring, really.
It's also a pretty. Actually, I could take that back. I was gonna say it has a bit of a round arching, but then I realized that is normal for Italian.
Let's carry on. French violin by Denis Grenier. 1,000 to 200 was the estimate. Sold for 1,000. interesting looking scroll. It looks like it's been squashed.
Well, we like that.
Okay, let's carry on. A Violin Anonymous with a copy label with Andrea Cortier. What 1200 to 1500 was the estimate, but it did not sell. Nothing too outrageous there. And should we carry on to the next one? Okay. An Italian violin, probably by Paolo Barbieri, 353 length of back. It's got a label and stamp for Paolo. Estimate was 5,000 to 6,000. No one was interested in this one.
Apparently not. I mean, given the right substance, I will be interested in.
Yep. Doesn't look too exciting to me. Italian violin, Primavera Capellini, 359, with the label Primavera Capellini Cremona 1977. 1,500 to 1,800 euros was the estimate. Sold for 2,250 gold beans.
Long, man, it's too long for Italian. It's such a standard, like modern Italian.
Yeah, it's not
But
really doing
suppose
much for me.
this guy didn't properly learn how to make an Italian violin. It's almost there. One of those. It's like one of those stories where Luthier would tell me, "Oh, this guy owns a Italian violin. Like it's Italian, but it's just a piece of shit." Okay, that was okay actually, but like we've seen these stuff.
Yeah. Okay, a French violin, probably by the Humbert workshop. 1,600 to 1,800 was the estimate, and it sold for 1,800.
Oh, I like this one. It looks nice. It's, some of these violins really, I mean, the biggest indication of quality to me is the end of the scroll fluting. And a lot of them are just so well done. I mean, it's almost like Apollium's looking for an instrument that was demonstrating something very specific qualities, even if there's just some really cheap stuff.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
like this, if you look at it, it could be one of those Colin actually. The style and the scroll doesn't look that much like a Colin, but the fake Grenier model, very weird arching, and it's not bad either. It's also older than those 1940s Colin, but they look very similar.
That's true. Then we got another French violin, Miracle 19th Century, with a label C. Husson. 1,000 to 1,200 was the estimate. Sold for 1,500 in the end.
I don't know what to say about this.
Yeah, it's not super inspiring.
The next one is sort of interesting.
An Italian violin by Giovanni Rodig, Verona, 1921. 3,000 to 4,000 was the estimate. No takers for it.
You look at the button of this thing.
Well, it's quite big.
Yeah. The corner works are kind of funny. It almost reminds me of some of those like older Neapolitan stuff.
Yeah.
Not the varnish. The varnish is your typical like the Italian brown. It has some charm to it, but it's one of those.
Definitely.
One of those cheaper Italian stuff.
Definitely interesting. And the next one, a French violin, probably by Mirmont, which bears the label CA Mirmont. Sorry, say that again.
That's another 12K instrument for you on Rizio.
Yeah, 362 length though. Estimate was 1800 to 2000. It sold for 1200 in the end. I wonder if it sold so well because it's got quite a striking back, doesn't it?
Yeah, these are nice. I mean, you can at least flip it for, I don't know, 5,000 if someone's gonna bid on it on Rizio.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep an eye out. It may end up on Rizio soon.
Yep. And French violin by Nestor Ordino. With the label, estimate was 7,500 to 9,000 euros, sold for 8,600. So that was a good estimate there.
Well, I'm glad this guy kept the Violin pin, but didn't keep the same standard as the Violin squirrel.
Well, got part of the way.
And the arching's gotten way more French too. Man, some of these like people who worked for Violin, as soon as they got out, their stuff just went downhill. Just looked way more French than they used to be. Like it's like, did you not learn anything from Violin?
And then going on, an Italian violin by Alfredo Laurenti, 357 length of back, 4,500 to 5,000 was the estimate, sold for 4,500. No comments there. Okay.
Well, sorry, I was away grabbing some water, but
Okay.
not bad, I guess. I mean, we've seen better.
Yeah.
That's so funny that this one's actually sold.
Okay, yeah. And then an anonymous French violin, 359, with a label A. Delivet, 800 to 1,200 euros was the estimate, but it did not sell.
Wonder why. I mean, it's not that bad.
Yeah. But it's not wonderful either.
I mean, $800. I mean, it's slightly on the long side. 500 would take it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Let's go. Another French violin, the Humbert. 1,500 to 2,000 was the estimate, but it did not sell.
Makes you really curious where they got the F-hole idea from. Like, what inspired those F-holes? Those don't look very Cremonese. I mean, if anything, they look Venetian at the F-holes. Where they made one of these instruments? I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Yep. Well, and then an Italian violin by Camillo Colombo, 1925, Milan, 3,500 to 4,000 was the estimate. It did not sell. This is a very dark varnish, isn't it? Almost like Viennese.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah. It's thick. I mean, give it a few years, wear those dark varnish down. They can look. The problem is when something like this was made, it is made probably in a very beautiful red color, but oxidized and a lot of crackler. How do you call those on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Orange definitely was not the most successful.
Yeah. Oh well, no one bought it, sadly. A French violin, probably
Oh,
by Charles Bruguière. No pictures, so maybe someone requested that the pictures went, or I don't know, but it didn't sell anyway, supposedly. 2,000 to 2,500, or maybe it did sell and they're just withholding the information, I suppose. So
I managed to get the pictures. You just press download.
oh, you can get the download the high. Oh, no, not sure what's going on there. I'll abandon that for now because I can't really. Can I see the PDF? Yeah, I'm not getting anything there. Or do I have to?
Yeah, click that, then log in.
Oh, okay. I don't actually have a login then. So,
Uh,
oh well. Is it exciting?
Let me see. Let me see. I am trying to find where I dumped those pictures. Here they are. Well, it's hard to describe what I'm seeing, but it's some pretty standard stuff.
Okay, well, we can just move. I'm sure it's not the end of the world. Right, a French baritone or tenor violin there, 1950. Miracle 1950. Estimate was 800 to 1,200 euros, sold for 1,700 in the end.
That's a fractional viola. I mean, 357. This could be anything. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong odds.
It's 425.
45. What is that? Is that too big for a viola?
No.
No, then it's just a fractional viola. I mean, I'm tuning it to a viola.
And then onwards,
Oh, it's actually sold for more than the estimate. Who's buying a baritone violin?
I don't know, someone.
Yeah.
But no one is buying a quarter-sized Italian violin by Giachetti because that went unsold, 2,200 to 3,000, but it did not sell.
I mean, if I'm looking for a quarter, I would buy one of these. They're not the best quarter violin, but it looks nice. It's Italian too. Hey.
There you go. French violin, Baroque, 364. Wow, length of back 2 to 300 was the estimate. It did not sell. It's pretty low quality, so not surprised there. Let's move on. Another Baroque violin, Anonymous, 355. Interesting original Baroque violin there, but it didn't sell. Estimate was 1,500 to 1,800. Interesting double purfling.
And this would be perfect for doing like
Yeah.
historical ones. I mean, man, this is wait, what is this? 18th century copy of Genie. What the hell?
Copy of Magini doesn't really just look some kind of German thing. The back almost looks like a Hopf kind of thing.
Let's see. Yes.
Almost looks like a David Christian Hopf or something like that.
Yeah, probably. The F-hole placements are very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that big, I mean, that's not your standard German.
No.
This is like the wings like the other way around because like Maginis have tiny wings. Some of them don't even have wings, but these are huge.
Definitely curious.
Yeah.
Oh well, it was interesting. Well, let's see what else we got here. It says an 18th century cello here. Beautiful Baroque cello made at the beginning of the 18th century, bearing a label Jacques Bouquet. Paris school, very nice. Estimate was 12 to 15,000 euros, and it sold for 12,000.
A lot of cracks on the back. That looks almost like a back sample is cracked to me.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely, I would say, something going on there. So
who's Charles Richet? I've not heard of that person. Yeah, it's so funny. Like, if it's an 18th century French violin with a back crack, it would not sell like that. I guess cellos are just desirable.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The next cello, you should you should when you see that one.
Oh, a Piccolo cello. Wow, yeah, that looks amazing. By Gerard Joseph de la Planique or de la Planque. Interesting. Yeah, very curious.
Yeah.
10 to 12,000 was the estimate, sold for 11,200. I like that. It's very kind of, I like the F holes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 5-string, interesting. I like that. I like the scroll actually. I'm a fan. Very good. Well, let's see what else there is. An Italian viola then, isn't it? By Giovanni Battista Panizzi, Sanremo, 1933. Wow, estimate 30 to 35,000 pounds, but no one was interested.
I mean, I've not heard of the maker, but that looks very nice. That looks like a nice viola.
Yeah.
The corner work, the garnish. It almost looks a bit like the Bizia we just saw.
But the price was obviously not nice enough.
I mean, it's a viola.
Yeah, too. Another Italian viola there, probably by Rodolfo Marchini, 1977. Italian viola there, possibly. 1,800 to 2,000 euro was the estimate, sold for 2,850. Very orange. And a quinton there of some kind. 800 to 1,200 was the estimate. Didn't sell. Curious shape, I guess you could say.
Very striking.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. The scroll is like absolutely bonkers. It's messing with my head.
We've seen one of these. Something like that.
Yeah, it looks familiar, doesn't it? Maybe we've seen this already before. I can't remember. But yeah, definitely a bit odd. A French viola now, with an iron mark for Mardel. 200 to 300 euros was the estimate. Sold for 200 euros. Wow, that's pretty good price.
I mean, unfortunately, people are not paying. People are generally not buying violas, but this is oh well, it has a back crack. So
Yeah, it's got a massive back crack. But I mean, if it plays, then it's not a bad price if it works. Okay. Another French viola by Louis Cortier. 1,200 to 1,500 was the estimate. Sold for 1,600. Very interesting. And a cello there, it's Prague School with the Andreas Grenier label.
I really like this Czech cello.
Yeah, it looks amazing. 5 to 7,000 euros was the estimate. Sold for 8,200. It's nice. Nice color.
Yeah. I mean, I'm keeping an eye on like cheaper cellos. I mean, this is not cheap anymore.
Yeah. But no, it's definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, the scroll, holy shit, man. Look at that.
Yeah, it was cool. And then we're on to a 3/4 cello by Plumerel. 1,500 to 2,000 was the estimate, but it didn't sell. It's not that exciting, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And a half-size cello there. Probably not threaded, probably Miracle Jtl maybe. That's what it says. Estimate was 600 to 800, which seems quite a lot, and it sold for 600 euros. Interesting. A French cello here, Miracle, with a label for or Jesus de Topanis, something like that, or whatever. I can't pronounce any of these things anymore. 1,900 to 2,000 was the estimate, and it didn't sell. So that got that weird varnish. And let's carry on. Half size cello Mircore, 300 to 400 was the estimate. Sold for 520. Okay. Another French cello there, Mircore, with certificate of value there. 3,000 to 4,000 was the estimate. Sold for 4,700. So that was a popular one.
I'm just looking ahead to see how many lots this auction has. It has 320 lots.
Yeah, it has quite a lot, but I think some of them we can skip out, and if it's kind of guitars and things, you can do those a bit quicker.
I recommend we can even stop at 150 lots, and we can come back to it tomorrow or so.
Oh, well, let's see how it goes, really. An Italian cello here, probably by Garda. 10 to 12,000 was the estimate. Sold for 10,200. And a contrabass there by Humbert. Estimate was 2.5 to 3. Sold for 2,000.
It's like if you buy one of these, you're not buying a musical instrument, you're buying a piece of furniture.
Yeah, exactly. You're buying like a giant piece of wood.
Yeah, I like how they try their best to take a picture of this because it's just so massive. They had to like Photoshop the background off.
There's
for the varnish better than what it looked in the picture.
Oh yeah. Here's Le Piano de Madame Lemonnier, Erard Napoleon III. There you go.
Yes, a lot. Wow.
So that's quite decorative, isn't it? So very fancy. The estimate was 10 to 15,000, but it did not sell. That was one of the star lots, I think. Here's like a harpist stool, isn't it? That's pretty curious, actually. 400 to 600, sold for 820. That's curious. An Erard harp, neo-Gothic style, 1800 to 2200, sold for 2050. Here's some bows. We can speed through these. Charles.
I'll run to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, no, I'll just go through these bows. So it's Violin Bow by Charles Nicholas Bazar, sold for 1,000 euros there. A Violin Bow by Prosper Colas did not sell, was 1,500 to 2,000. Violin Bow Anonymous, 600 to 800. German bow did not sell. A School of Taught bow, Violin Bow, 4,000 to 5,000 was the estimate. It did not sell. Another Violin Bow, Charles Bazar, 1,200 to 1,500, did not sell. Another Violin Bow by Claude Thomason, or attributed to, 600 to 800 was the estimate, sold for 451. Violin Bow by Emile Francois Huchard, estimate was 1,400 to 1,500. It did not sell. And another Violin Bow in the style of Michel, 1,200 to 1,500 was the estimate. It sold for 1,000. Another Violin Bow by Victor Francois Fetique, estimate was 5,000 to 6,000, sold for £5,000 there. Another Violin Bow Miracle, 400 to 500, sold for €400. Another Violin Bow by Vanelli, estimate was 200 to 300, sold for 200. Violin Bow by Lebert, estimate was 200 to 300, sold for 210. Violin Bow by Charles Nicholas Bazar did not sell, 1,800 to 2,000 was the estimate. Violin Viola Bow, lot 98, anonymous 19th century, Peugeot Mare style, 300 to 400, sold for €410. Violin Bow anonymous, 200 to 300 was the estimate, did not sell. It's got the Guatro mark, which was a big wholesalers, I think. Another violin.
So I was actually the bows, the Bazan, like the reason it didn't sell probably because of some pretty serious crack going on.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, a lot of them have probably got a lot of issues here. Here's a Violin Bow by Eugene Cugnot, 1,800 to 2,000 euros, did not sell. Violin Bow Mircourt, 150 to 200 euros, sold for 150 euros. Anonymous Violin Bow sold for 600 euros there with a Lenoble stamp. Violin Bow by Eugene Victor Brullier, 800 to 1,200 euros, did not sell. Has a certificate there of some kind as well. And a Violin Bow by Cunha Huri, 12 to 1,500, did not sell even with Pierre Guillaume's certificate. I presume either didn't sell or maybe they've been asked to cover up the price. I guess it's hard to know. Violin Bow Mircourt with a stamp for Bazat, 5 to 600, did not sell. Violin Bow Mircourt, 6 to 800, did not sell. Another Bazin stamp there. Violin by Louis Morizon Frère, 1,200 to 1,500, did not sell. Guillaume certificate there. Violin by Mircourt sold for 210 euros, bargain. Violin Bow Louis Morizon stamp sold for 130 euros. Wow. Violin Bow Charles Nicolas Bazat, 1,800 to 2,000, did not sell. Violin Bow Mircourt sold for 120 euros. Violin Bow by Emile Francois Houchard, 2,200 to 2,500, with a Daguin certificate, did not sell. People not wanting to spend money on bows, it seems. A Violin Bow by Jtl sold for 100 euros. So if your bow's 100 to 200 euros, it's selling in this auction, but otherwise not. Violin Bow by Emile Francois Houchard, 2,200 to 2,500, didn't sell. I mean, most of them look pretty good.
For anything, people will be on these auctions to buy bows. I mean,
yeah,
maybe because for bows you really have to be there. Like all the bow bros I know, they go to Vichy and they really look at each lots in person.
yeah.
I guess people come to this auction in person that often. I don't know why.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit out of the way, to be honest, but I don't know. I'm actually not sure where it is, to be honest. So a Violin Bow French, 800 to 1,200, didn't sell. Like I said, or maybe they are selling and it's just that they've been covered up, but potentially. Violin Bow Jtl, 1,800 to 2,200, supposedly didn't sell. Violin Bow in the style of Louis Simon Pajot, 700 to 1,000, that did not sell. Jtl Bow, 150 euros, get in there. Just the stick of a bow, actually kind of interesting looking stick, sold for 400 euros. A Violin Bow Entourage of Pierre Cugnot, 1,000 to 1,200, did not sell. Mircourt Violin Bow, 3 to 400, didn't sell. Oh, this is interesting. Violin Bow School of Leonard Tort, 2,200 to 2,500, sold for 3,100 euros. That's interesting.
I'm sorry, how much?
3,100 euros.
Okay, that's not too bad. I thought the estimate was like a few hundred.
No. A Jtl Violin Bow sold for 150 euros, bargain. Mircourt Violin Bow did not sell, 2 to 300 euros. Another Mircourt Bow, 5 to 700, didn't sell. A Milant Bow, Violin Bow, 4 to 500, did not sell. Here's a Violin Bow Anonymous, early 19th century, 4 to 500, the estimate, sold for 420. Another Mircourt Violin Bow sold for 400 euros. And another Mircourt Bow sold for 80 euros. Wow, okay. 3/4 bow, 120 to 150 euros, did not sell. Mircourt Violin Bow did not sell, 500 to 700. I'm getting attacked here. Another Mircourt Violin Bow there, 3 to 400. No bids on that one. Another Mircourt Bow, 300 to 400, did not sell. Violin Bow by Jtl, probably made by JJ Martin. Well, that explains why it sold then. 800 to 1,200 is the estimate, sold for 1,450. Violin Bow probably by Cunha Huri, 800 to 1200, did not sell. Half size bow by Chanot and Chardon, sold for 560 euros.
Didn't know they're making bows.
Yeah, well, clearly, apparently. A Lebert Violin Bow, 400 euros, sold for. Violin Bow, probably by Louis Morizot, 800 to 1200 euros, did not sell. Violin Bow, probably by Charles Bazar, 1200 to 1500, did not sell. Violin Bow, Anonymous there, 4 to 600 was the estimate, sold for 400. Another Violin Bow by Louis Joseph Morizot Père, estimate 5 to 700, sold for 620. Violin Bow by Prosper Colas, sold for 150 euros. Interesting. Another Violin Bow by JTL, sold for 90 euros. Another anonymous violin bow, sold for 250 euros. Another anonymous violin bow, 430 euros. Another violin bow, probably by Louis Joseph Morizot, sold for 2,850. So that's way over the estimate there. 800 to 1,200, probably with the mark for Colin Mizer. So that's curious. That was popular. Another violin bow by R. Weitkold, 200 to 300 was the estimate, sold for 720 euros there. And a violin bow by probably by Charles Nicolas Bazar, sold for 320 euros. That's a lot of bows. Violin Bow Anonymous, sold for 150 euros. 3 violin bows, sold for 350 euros. Miracle ones, whole load of bows there, sold for 70 euros. Now it's a viola bow, JTL, 1,000 to 1,200, didn't sell. Viola bow by Roger Francois Lot, 1,800 to 2,000, didn't sell. Anonymous viola bow, 1,200 to 1,500, didn't sell. Another anonymous viola bow, 900 to 1,100, didn't sell. A cello bow, circa 1960, 1,500 to 2,000, didn't sell. Here's a cello bow, anonymous 19th century, 2 to 3,000 euros the estimate, sold for 2,950. Another cello bow anonymous, sold for 540 euros. Another cello bow from Mircore, sold for 320 euros. Another Mircore cello bow didn't sell, 1,200 to 1,500. Cello bow in the style of Peugeot, estimate was 800 to 1,200. JTL cello bow there, sold for 280 euros. Cello bow with a stamp for Bazar, sold for 170 euros. 3/4 cello bow by H. Walter Zapf, did not sell. And a cello bow Mircore, sold for 300 euros. And a cello bow probably by Morizot, sold for 1,000 euros. Cello bow by Paysold, did not sell. Cello bow probably by Louis Gillette, sold for 3,000 euros, right on the high end of the estimate there. And a bass bow there, sold for 100 euros. And this was
withdrawn from the auction.
withdrawn. Yeah, that was withdrawn. So that was a Charles Picat's, or what's it? I'm not sure exactly what that was supposed to be. A button or something, isn't it? Just a button from or something, or was it a book or something? I'm not sure what that exactly that was. Here's a case there that did not sell. Interesting trapezoidal violin there. Instrument of War. That sold for 780 euro. People like this weird stuff, don't they? Amateur violin, sold for 130 euros. An interesting violin here.
This one very. It says, you know, it has a fake Dalla Costa label. It says the violin is made in 20th century, and they managed to find out what that military decoration's from. But the thing,
Okay.
I mean, look at the perf thing. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
These nice pens.
Well, the estimate was 300 to 400, and it sold for 2,350. So the consignor is going to be happy, I think.
I think this is a real dollar coaster or something. Let's see if it is.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Military drum sold for €15. French violin in the style of Lupo did not sell, 500 to €700. Do you have any opinions on the style of Lupo?
Oh, still at 176. Anyways, let me see. Oh wait. There you go. Nope, I don't have a lot of opinion on this one. It's pretty long. Oh, look how the back is like the edge of the it's not painted black. It's actually some sort of a, what do you call it? I forgot what the word for it is. Like an inlay or something.
I'm not sure. It looks kind of painted up at the button.
Well, it's not. If you look at the bottom left corner, the bottom left the bell. There you go. Look
yeah,
at that.
it's it's like on a guitar, it's yeah, it's the same kind of like, well, I suppose like purfling, like outer purfling. So well, interesting anyway. French violin Miracle with a Quattro label sold for €660.
A lot of dust on this one. It's kind of gross. I really hope that Apollium wouldn't ship the instrument like this. Actually, I'm pretty sure they will, but like that's just kind of gross.
Yeah.
A lot of dust.
And then a 3/4 violin by Quattro sold for €620. Oh, that's quite a lot. And let's carry on. Half size Medifino sold for €100.
Get that.
And a German violin copy of a Steiner sold for €600.
Oh, very cool. Let's see. Oh, it's actually a newer instrument.
Okay. And then Central European violin there with a label Herclick sold for €300.
Central European. Wait.
And a French violin 3/4 Breton sold for €150. And a French violin in the style of Cabasa sold for €420. I think we're in the non-interesting violin zone at the moment. French violin, Le Marquis, whatever, Delaire or whatever they usually call it. You get these all the time, €80. This is pretty unexciting. German violin sold for €100 with a few bows. This is all just trade stuff, so I'm just gonna skip through it as quickly as possible. French violin 3/4 Miracle did not sell. French violin from Miracle sold for €410. That seems a bit high, but okay. French violin from Miracle did not sell. 80 to 120 was the estimate there. Another Miracle violin sold for €50. Good bargain price there. Another French violin Miracle sold for €540. Funny things going on the button there. Another 3/4 Miracle violin sold for €20. That's good. Another JTL French violin sold for €370. That
Nice JTL. The wood is nice.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Half size French Miracle violin sold for €40. 3/4 violin from Miracle there sold for €50. French violin with the horrible head, 19th century, sold for 420 euros to some poor unsuspecting victim. I mean, at least it is actually quite well carved, but it's a bit freaky. That last picture, the side profile, is actually scary. It reminds me of like the Alien film or something.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally, yeah. And I like the number 420. Blaze it, dude.
Yeah. And let's move on from that scary thing. Another French violin with a dodgy head, sold for 500 euros. And it's got that kind of interesting inlay of the castle and stuff that I usually associate with like German instruments, but okay.
Look at the side profile of this thing. The arching is extremely flat.
Yeah. Very interesting.
It's huge, 366. It's got a
Oh right, okay, yeah, that's massive. That's pretty big. A modern quarter-size cello did not sell. And a violin Jtl sold for 520 euros. Pretty standard. 1/4 Medifino sold for 70 euros there. Another one that's got retired, something to do with Huson and Butold. A French violin in the Calsas style sold for 240 euros there. It looks okay. French violin Mircore sold for 1,350 euros there. That's popular, that one. Yep. And French violin JTL sold for 150 euros.
I like how the Strat label, the 205, sold for like 1,300. I mean, it's actually quite nicely made.
Oh yeah, but it seems a bit yeah, a bit over the top. And then the next two are just other kind of JTL ones. Onto 207 there, sold 150 euros. French violin by Tredeluth. Estimates 300 to 400, 361 back from 1982. Didn't sell. Interesting scroll actually. Kind of a little bit surprised at that. Didn't even sell for 300 euros.
Yeah. Well, it is a bit of a funky instrument. It's not very nice Amati model either.
Yeah.
The perfect channel just the buttons is ugly and everything else just kind of gross. Oh my god. I can't see it for too long. It's
it's hurting you. German violin here that sold for 940 euros.
Way over for no reason. I mean, this is pretty standard looking instrument.
Yeah, it's just because it's got fancy wood, isn't it? That's all.
I mean, also, but back of the scroll again is very well made. What's up with all of these Apollium stuff? I mean, it's almost like the guys pick up all the instrument with a good looking back of the scroll.
Yeah. And then 3/4 violin from Miracle. Didn't sell that. Let's see. Yeah. And then another Miracle violin with label H Dennis sold for 620 euros. There you go. 3/4 violin there. Didn't sell, 120 euros is the estimate. It's pretty standard stuff. French violin didn't sell, 500 to 700 euros was the estimate. German violin didn't sell, deconnect copy, 500 to 700 euros was the estimate. French violin by Nicolas Jomier, 500 to 700, didn't sell. It's not too bad actually. That's lot 215. French violin, the Maestro, made in Miracle, sold for 180 euros there. It's pretty standard. And French violin Miracle didn't sell, 80 to 120 euros. French violin Miracle sold for 60 euros there. German violin, the classic Schweitzer kind of one, that didn't sell, 400 to 600 euros, not too surprised. German violin, another kind of one of these fake Klotz labels, 400 to 600, didn't sell. Once again, not too surprising. Another French violin Miracle sold for 200 euros. Another Miracle one sold for 150 euros. Another German violin sold for 920 euros. Once again, just because I think it looked kind of a little bit pretty, but not too good. Anonymous violin there sold for 100 euros. Looks kind of interesting.
I'm just getting really far ahead, but I just couldn't find anything too interesting anymore.
No, exactly. It's getting a bit tough now. German violin 225 sold for 110. I'll just speed through it a bit.
Interesting, but I'll wait for you there.
German violin Berlin 640. At least the back looks kind of interesting to that. French violin Miracle sold for 80 euros there. And French violin JTL sold for 300 euros. Let's hope for something interesting coming up at some point. French violin Miracle sold for 120 euros. 3/4 violin sold for 160 euros there. French violin there sold for 60 euros. German violin sold for 80 euros. French violin by Jtl sold for 960. That's kind of a bit better, getting more on track there. That's not too bad. A whole load of French Miracle violins didn't sell, 100 to 200 euro estimate. Half size violins sold for 220 euros there. I think at some stage this becomes books and records, so hopefully there's not too much stuff left. A load of violins sold for 210 euros. Another load of Miracle violins sold for 170 euros. Other violins didn't sell, 300 to 400 was the estimate. A lot of violins, 150 to 200 estimate, didn't sell. Oh, photograph, we don't need to see photographs, more photographs. No, that's okay. I think we're skip that. I think we've got guitars appearing at some stage soon. All these jazz photographs. I'm pretty sure that there was a few guitars in this auction somewhere. There's a trumpet. Oh, I've gone past it. Trumpet and cornet, 150 to 200 euros, didn't sell. Saxophone, baritone, buffet crampon, 150 euros to 200, didn't sell. Saxophone, euphone and euphonium didn't sell, 50 to 80 euros. Transverse flute, Muramatsu sold for 800 euros there. They're meant to be actually really good, the Muramatsu ones. Elk Heart transverse flute didn't sell. Another transverse flute by Bonneville sold for 840 euros. A bugle by Pierre Thimbault didn't sell. Mandolin and euphonium, that's a pretty random lot, didn't sell, 80 to 120 euros. A ceremonial trumpet sold for 30 euros, nice. An Italian mandolin, Luigi Emberger, sold for 1,000 euros. Okay, that seems a bit much really for that, for some reason. Neapolitan mandolin, that was quite nice actually, sold for 940 euro. Callas one, it's actually quite nice, quite like that. Let's have a quick zoom. It's not too bad, that's okay. Alto mandolin sold for 270 euros there. Mandolin Phoebe sold for 20 euros. Yeah, that's not very good. A whole load of couple of mandolins there didn't sell. And jazz guitar from Miracle sold for 60 euros. Interesting. Hofner jazz guitar sold for 820 euros. That's pretty nice. I like that old style headstock. Nice bell, sorry, bird's eye back. Jazz guitar Miracle sold for 900 euros. Another guitar, Jerome Miracle, sold for €110. Guitar, Allumets, did not sell. It's pretty bonkers. Classical guitar by Yamaha sold for €70. Folk guitar by Yamaha sold for €90. Crafter folk guitar did not sell.
I like how you're explaining each lot faster than I could even like go through them.
Right. Well, this is kind of like, these are a bit unexciting, really. Copy of a Gibson electric guitar sold for €81. That's about €80 too much. Folk guitar by Art and Luthery sold for €100. Banjo, and these lots are random. Like, who actually sells like a banjo and like a natural horn or just a hunting horn or whatever it is?
Natural horn makes sense. If you're doing historical performance, if you're doing Baroque music, it's pretty desirable.
This is a very odd combination. Anyway, €30. And Epinette de Vosges, that sold for €40. So that's fairly interesting. Interesting in oud here, and this is like a Portuguese type guitar from the islands, where a variation on the Portuguese guitar, sold for €140. Looks curious. Here's a Vina, sold for €80. It's interesting. A tambour, the African drum, did not sell. A harp, a sarangi, did not sell. A playella, a kind of automatic whatever drum organ thingamabob, that sold for €130. Another one sold for €300. Gramophone did not sell. Music stand sold for €130. Quarter-size piano by Gaveau sold for €840 there. Loads of music, that's not interesting. Oh, Robert Falcucci portrait of Beethoven did not sell. I kind of like that, actually. It's not too bad.
Not expecting to buy a painting on one of these auctions.
No, exactly. And now I think we're just coming to the end of a few things. So I think we pretty much done the auction. I think, like, a few kind of interesting things and stuff like that. Nothing too outrageous price wise. Nothing really went crazy. There's a few things that I was surprised didn't sell, if I'm being honest. But otherwise, I think it was a fairly standard auction.
Yeah. Still curious about that Bizia. I think I'll have to ask around about it.
Yeah, definitely. Think you should kind of have a look and see, really. See what we think. Actually, interestingly, the after sales catalog is actually up, so you can still bid, I think. Yeah, there you go.
That Bizia is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, is it? What number is it? Oh yeah, here it is.
Unfortunately, I have €12,000 on my hand at the moment, so.
No, exactly. So there you go. It looks like the after sale is still up for anyone interested. Well, I think it is anyway, which makes sense. So quite a few things didn't sell. You can buy your portrait of Beethoven there. So there you go. Well, this has been the auction, really, and like I said, it was interesting. A few curious things. Not too bad. Any kind of final comments from you, Max?
I do like the Dehazi. I'm glad it's sold. The lot 37 I was looking at is also pretty interesting.
Definitely, yeah.
37, what else? The Bizia. Sorry, I'm just looking at the after sale. I think that piano, a shame that didn't sell. Some nice book. So yeah. I mean, part of me doesn't want to give this auction house a shout out because I want them to keep low profile so I can get good deals on it. On the other hand, it's hard not to admit that it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, it's an interesting auction house. I'll put the link in the description. Thanks, Max, for joining me on this auction and taking us through a few things and having a just a general kind of comedy time looking at some of the auctions. So yeah, if you're interested in the after sale or seeing what some of these things sold for, then I'll put a link in the description and check it out yourself. And I think until next time, I'm going to say ciao for now. Goodbye. Many thanks for tuning in to the Musical Instrument Investigator. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, then please like, subscribe and turn on notifications, and watch out for the next video coming soon.